Alright, it is June 16th, Tuesday, 2026, and I woke up a little bit late today. Got about 20 minutes till equity open. So I'm gonna take just maybe a few more minutes to wake up a little bit more and just kind of do some review. Just glancing at the chart might be bullish. Again, just glancing at the chart, but I'm just gonna try and take a few minutes, pray, wake up a little bit more, and then we'll get into some more analysis, in-depth analysis, and see if we can get something today. Okay, so looking at the weekly, already at pretty much at all-time highs again. Most likely going to be taking that. Most likely going to be taking it, but right now I'm just going to kind of work on my PD arrays, and then I'll get back to y'all when I have more of a bias, more framework for the day. Alright, so just looking at the high time frame, we have this fair value gap. It's also aligned with INWOG. We have a 4-hour order block, and all of this is somewhat aligned with 0.5 of the current range that we're trading in. To be honest, I'm not exactly 100% sure on all-time highs, because obviously we're very close to them, but I don't feel like price needs to take this high. I guess I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary. So we could. There's a number of things that could happen. A little bit more long-term ideas here, but we just kind of chop up and then take the high. Start going lower, and then we do something like this, or we could take the high and then just go lower. Or we could just kind of continue down from here. There's a number of things that could happen. So we'll just be optimistic and kind of look out for whatever's thrown our way. I'll do a bit more analysis on the hourly and the 15-minute, trying to get some intraday ideas, and I'll get back to you with that. Okay, so something very interesting going on here. We have an SMT at this high. ES never took this high. And also we have an SMT with London lows. So currently, just for right now, I'm very short-term bullish, but my overall bias is definitely bearish. We have this new week opening gap. We have a 1 hour fair value gap right here. We have our daily fair value gap and an order block aligned with 0.5 of the range, somewhat aligned with 0.5 of the range. And we're also just couldn't be in any more of a premium than we are in right now. So I definitely like to see lower prices overall. I don't know if I want to see lower prices today specifically, but overall lower prices is what I'm looking for, and there's nothing extremely obvious for me today. ES could come up and take this high. Alright, so a number of things could happen here. Just with this S&T, again, I want to see lower prices. So, in order for that to happen, we just kind of chop around and then continue lower. Or we come down, maybe take London lows again, Asia lows again, and then make our way up until we can start making our way back down. It's a little strange today, this SMT and this SMT. So, gonna wait for equity open to play out because I feel like the S&P could take this high, and then we could look for shorts after that. So, we'll see how it goes. I should have checked news way earlier, but we don't have any today. But FOMC is tomorrow, so definitely have no problem sitting out today and waiting for that, because I feel like day before FOMC usually does some bullshit, or it's just not going to be favorable to trade. So definitely want to keep that in mind going into Tuesday. Probably won't be trading unless something is super obvious, but we'll just play it by candle. Okay, so for shorts it'd be very ideal if we come up into this gap, react off of it, and then target this gap, because ES again, and I'll take London lows. We're already trading into this gap. If we can possibly take current New York highs on ES, not on NQ, just fill that gap and then start making our way lower, that would be ideal. But it's very specific. It's very it's very specific, so we'll see. For buys, I don't know if I'm super comfortable buying here. I mean, we do have S&T, we kind of have everything, but I'm so bearish right now. I don't really want to go against that again, unless it's like extremely obvious. And we have bearish PD arrays here. I don't want to trade against. Bearish PD right here. I don't want to trade against going into this gap. So yeah, I'm gonna quit yapping and wait for equity open. It's only 4 minutes away. See what happens. So I'm gonna be honest. I feel pretty good longing. Honestly, it's so obvious. Like, yes, we are bearish, but I mean, let's be real. Come on, look at this. Obviously, I think we're going to be making our way up, equity open. Looked like we were ready to go for Asia lows. We still might, but we just kind of continued this sweep on London. That's why you don't just pattern trade this shit. Just buy this sweep. You don't want to do that, obviously. But I think a good DOL is going to be this 15-minute gap. And yeah, if we get it, then we get it. If we don't, we don't. We'll just kind of see how it plays out. Oh my god, I was just muted, but I made this decision relatively quickly, so I just want to go over it. Set my buy limit at the candle that took London lows on the 1 minute. Very simple. Very simple. It's just interesting because it's not as, technical as you think. It's very discretionary. And it's just, it's more of how I feel about today. I really feel like we're bullish. Even though long-term I'm bearish, even though price looks very bearish, it's so, today is so bullish to me, which is why I'm taking this as long. It's purely out of discretion, pretty much. Yes, we took London lows and we closed above on the 1 minute, but let's be real, that's not really why I'm entering here. This 1 minute close is not the entire reason why I'm entering. And I feel like that's a problem with most traders, is like that 1 minute close is the reason why I'll enter that. You know, that one confluence just gives all the confidence to take the trade, and it should not be like that. Not at all. But I'll quit yapping. We'll let the shit play out, see what happens. Okay, so modified my stop just a little bit higher. I feel comfortable doing that, but I feel slightly uncomfortable with this TP. I feel like it's a little bit extended, so I'm going to go ahead and move it a little bit below CE, this fair value gap, because I want to be extra safe. You know, I want to make sure that gets hit. So yeah, this is going to be probably going to be the final modification I do to the trade. Probably won't do much else from here. So yeah. Okay, I was once again muted. I need to stop doing that, but TP was hit. But anyways, the entire time I was muted, I was explaining how I modified my TP, because it looks like we were reacting off this gap, and I was saying how I think it's stupid. I think it's absolutely stupid that people will sit there and torture themselves by waiting for their limit to get hit. And again, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I just personally think, I mean, if you're in a trade and you're close to TP and you have a reason for that trade to get invalidated, exit the trade. I was literally 10 points away from TP, and my limit, you know, we're reacting off this gap, my limit could have not gotten hit. So I was definitely prepared to just exit the trade. That's not a panic exit. That's not bad psychology. I'm just not going to torture myself and watch my trade go all the way to SL when I'm literally 10 points away from my TP. Okay, that's good. That's good risk management. You don't sit there and torture yourself. And I mean, if you're 10 points, 5 points away from your TP, just get out. You know, for example, I was literally 10 points away from my TP when we had traded into this gap, and we did hit it. But you know, if I started seeing closures and, you know, expansions down, I definitely would have entered. You know, if we would have continued down probably to this candle, to this low, I would have been completely comfortable exiting, right? Because again, I'm this close to TP, that trade could possibly get invalidated. Why would I sit here and just wait for my SL to get hit, right? So okay, so just going over today, pretty quick day. I really couldn't have been any more correct. I think I read the market perfectly. Going into today, again, I was very bearish. You know, I looked at the daily, the weekly, hourly charts, and you know, it's very obvious that we were bearish. But this is a perfect example of discretion, and why discretion is so important. Why discretion is usually the reason why someone is profitable versus why they're not. Because the reality is, you can't just watch videos. You can't just, you know, surf in a whole bunch of discords waiting for their daily buy so you can get an idea. You'll never actually improve that way, and you'll never actually build any type of intuition that's going to allow you to make consistent returns by yourself over years and years and years, you know, for the rest of your life. So, for example, today, I went into the week because really I stood out yesterday. I wasn't very interested, and really got back on charts on Tuesday, and I mean, yeah, it was so obviously bearish to me. You know, we had that massive SMT, and we have bearish PD arrays, we have bearish targets to meet. We have this NWOG that's inside of a fair value gap on the daily, aligned with a 4-hour order block that's really close to 0.5 the current high time frame range we're trading in, right? So bearishness is very obvious, but that doesn't mean that I can only take shorts, right? So many people think this way. If you have a bullish DOL, you can only take longs, or if you have a bearish bias, you can only take shorts. It's not the correct way to go about it. Okay, for example, I was very bearish, but I took a long today. Why? I couldn't do anything else. At this point in time, I could not take a short. There's no way. Just because I'm bearish doesn't mean I can only take a short. Once again, I cannot possibly see price right here and take a short. We took Asia lows. If you look at ES at the time, we were nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. A massive S&T. Okay, and the S&P was already pumping, which I expected NQ to fulfill as well. So I entered, simple entry, right? It's not really about the technicals, that's really the simple part. Took the low, candle closure above the high. I took the low, retrace into it, entry, target. My initial target was to fill this fair value gap, but it was clear to me that we were going to react off of it. So I set my TP very conservatively, slightly below CE of the fair value gap right here. And I mean, it's quite literally that simple. I can't really go into, so many people do trade reviews as if, everyone else watching their trades is going to make them profitable. It's just not. You can study other people's trades and that can help you, but if you're over here on live streams watching everyone's daily recaps, you're an idiot because it's not going to help you. You can't, I can't sit here and possibly explain to you why I took this trade and why you should take this trade, because I did not take this trade because of a 1 minute CISD retrace into the high. That was not the reason I took the trade. The reason I took this trade was because I felt that there was no possible way I could short at that moment in time. I felt the only target at that time was bullish. Even though my high time frame objective is bearish, the only target I saw at that time was bullish. That's why I took a long. That's why I took a trade that was in bullish direction. Okay? And if you think this is gambling, if you think this is dangerous, I'm telling you, this is real trading. This is how it actually works right here. Okay? I mean, it's just obvious that I knew exactly where to enter, exactly where to exit. You just have intuition. You have a type of discretion that allows you to trade in a way like this, and it's not going to come from just watching videos constantly and staying in Discords constantly and taking signals constantly looking for new strategies and reading all these books and finding all these new mentors and paying for all these courses. You can't grow that way. You're just not going to grow that way. But all that aside, shorts were obviously really good today as well. If I wasn't so focused on this long, I definitely could have waited for this gap to get tapped and entered on it. See where we could have entered here. Okay, right here. Would have been a comfortable entry for me. Stop loss at the high. Probably target these lows, to be honest. I want to go for here. I'll go for here, just knowing myself. Yeah. This is why you don't take BEs too. I rarely break even, especially if you have right risk. If you have correct risk, you do not need to break even. Just take the L and move on. Because where I'm at currently, it would take me, with my risk, I mean, I'm risking maybe $100, $150, max $200 a trade. With that type of risk, it's going to take me a pretty large lose streak just to blow the eval I'm currently on. So take the $100 loss. If you trade with more money, take the $400 or $500 loss. It's not that big of a deal. That's going to be the recap for today. Pretty good trade. I did not trade in the direction of my initial bias, but it's completely okay. Sometimes it's just how it goes. I could have, but I just chose not to today. This is more favorable for me at the time. so that's why I took it. As far as emotions go, I got a little bit, I don't even know what the word is, I guess excited when I got into the trade, but I quickly suppressed that because I'm feeling pretty well just with my psychology. I have my risks narrowed down. I have my strategy narrowed down. I have my psychology narrowed down. So overall, it went pretty smooth with emotions. Wasn't really feeling any type of fear or greed. I was just worried about managing the trade in the best possible way I could. So that's what I did. And fortunately, it played out. If it didn't play out, it would still be fortunate because I would have learned something. But I think I'm going to go on Notion, do my review there, and probably post something on Instagram. So I'll be back tomorrow.